For this build, I tried to focus on unique items that you could find within the game world rather than items that you can craft and enchant yourself. That way I could make this build relevant for new players to Skyrim. The goal of this build is to make it as tanky as possible while also leaving room for it to deal a little bit of damage. With that said, let's move on to the race that you should pick for this build. You have the choice between an orc or a Breton, with the orc having an ability that you can activate that makes you take less damage and deal more damage. For this build, I prefer the Breton because you get a constant 25% magic resistance rather than it being an ability that you activate. While you're free to choose any race for this build, Orc and Breton are the best. And after you've chosen your race, you're going to need a one-handed weapon. But the question is, what one-handed weapon do I use? After a lot of research, I determined that the best one-handed weapon in vanilla Skyrim is Chillrend. This weapon at its max rank makes targets take 30 points of frost damage. It also has a chance to paralyze the target for 2 seconds. It's not required for the build, but if you do want to improve the damage further on Chillrend, you'll need to have a high smithing skill as well as a high enchanting skill. That way you can improve this weapon. If you're wondering how you can get your hands on this weapon, you're going to need to join the Thieves Guild, and then during the quest The Pursuit, that's when you can get your hands on this weapon. However, if you're wanting to get the max rank of Chillrend, I would wait until you're level 46 or above. And that goes for all of the items in this build. And now that we have the best one-handed weapon for this build, what is the best shield? We have the Shield of Ysgramor, which gives 20% magic resistance, and it gives you 20 extra HP. We also have the Shield of Solitude, which gives 30% magic resistance, and you can block 35% more. In order to get the Shield of Solitude, you're going to need to talk to Falk Firebeard, and he will give you the quest, The Wolf Queen Awakened, and then after you complete that quest, you'll get the Shield of Solitude. And then if you're looking to get the Shield of Ysgramor, you're going to need to join the Companions, and then after the quest, The Glory of the Dead, you'll be able to find this in the final chest in Ysgramor's tomb. Out of these two shields, I prefer the Shield of Solitude because I feel like it's better overall. Now that we have our sword and shield, what kind of armor do we want? It turns out the best armor in Skyrim is the Daedric armor, as it has the highest base armor value of any other armor in the game. This armor starts spawning at level 48 and up, and as I've said previously, you don't need a high smithing skill or a high enchanting skill, but it does help as you can add different enchantments to your gear. For example, the gauntlets, you can add a block enchantment which makes you block more damage, or you can add a modifier for one-handed which makes you do more damage. And then for the boots, you can also add a one-handed damage modifier so you do even more damage with one-handed weapons. And then for the armor, you can also add a fortify health enchantment which gives you more health, or you can fortify your healing rate. Whatever enchantments you decide to put, Daedric armor is the best. In Skyrim, you can have one ring and one amulet equipped on your character at the same time, so which ones do we want? For the ring, we want the Ring of the Beast because it gives us plus 100 HP even if we're not in vampire form. The Ring of the Beast is only available if you choose to become a vampire lord at the conclusion of the Bloodline quest. If you've chosen to become a vampire lord, you can get the quest Rings of Blood Magic, and this is where you'll get the Ring of the Beast. And then for the amulet, we have two options. We have the Amulet of Stendarr, which allows you to block 10% more. You can buy one of these from Lisbeth in Markarth. And then the second option is the Galder Amulet, which increases all your stats by 30 points. And in order to get this amulet, you're going to need to complete the Forbidden Legend quest. Personally, I'm going to choose the Amulet of Stendarr. No build video would be complete without a standing stone and shouts to go with it. For the standing stone, we're going to choose the Lord Stone, which gives us 50 physical resistance and 25% magic resistance. The Lord Stone can be found to the southwest of Dawnstar. And as for the shouts that pair really well with this build, I'm choosing Dragon Aspect because it makes us take less damage. And then Elemental Fury because it'll make us strike faster. And then Disarm so we can get an extra advantage in battle. These three shouts together make this build unstoppable. So now that we've gotten all the gear and abilities out of the way, how do we assign our perks? For the one-handed tree, we're going to get all 5 ranks of Armsman, and then we're going to get all 3 ranks of Bladesman, and then we're going to get Fighting Stance, and we'll also get Critical Charge as well as Savage Strike. And then for the final perk in the one-handed tree, we're going to get the Paralyzing Strike perk. And then for block and heavy armor, we're going to get all of the perks in the trees because they're all useful to us. And now we're down to the last part of this build, the Companion. I decided to go with Marcurio because he's a mage that can strike enemies at range. If you're tanking hits, Marcurio can be in the back shooting enemies from a distance. You can find him in the Bee and Barb in Riften.